I'm going to talk about my hot take on circumcision, and if that topic is not one for you, you can scroll by now. Molly Kate says, I have a theory that cutting boys at birth causes them to be more violent, but circumcision is way too big of a moneymaker to outlaw it. And when I bring this up, people label me as a conspiracy theorist. It's interesting. I have a whole playlist on circumcision. I am absolutely opposed to any child, no matter what their gender, having their functional body parts mutilated and amputated as an infant without their consent. And I think it's really fucking weird that we consider it a horrific crime when babies with vulvas have them mutilated. But we consider it aesthetic and no big deal to have it done to babies with penises. Every time I talk about this subject, folks say like, oh, Angela, you kind of overlap with the manosphere here, because a lot of like men's rights activists, this is one of their hot button issues that they're very angry about. This is probably the only thing I have in common with men's rights activists, but I think it is justifiable to be angry, to be enraged. An intimate, deeply personal part of your anatomy was mutilated when you were a baby. That a functional body part was amputated without your consent. And again, I will hold this up as yet another example of how children are completely powerless in our society, and the trauma we subject them to because we treat them like property, deny them human rights, has lasting implications. Not only for those individuals once they become adults, but for the relationships that they have with other people. And I agree with this person. This is a theory that I have held as well. There's that book, The Body Keeps the Score, and we love to say like, oh, they were babies, they don't remember that it happened to them. It's only been in the last few decades that we acknowledged that infants felt pain. It used to be that doctors thought that infants could not feel pain because they had not yet acquired language. And so procedures like circumcision were done without anesthesia. There are millions of men walking around America today who had surgery on their genitals without anesthesia. And you think that doesn't have a lasting impact on them? That trauma is not still there, is not still being carried around. Now, does it justify men being toxic, harming their partners? Abso-fucking-lutely not. But at the beginning of a boy's life, when he should know only love and protection, in the first days of his life, we expose him to violence. We make him undergo a purely cosmetic procedure that is so frequently botched, produces so much scar tissue, that circumcision revision is one of the most common procedures for young boys. So they get subjected to it twice. We on this app and in our culture have so much empathy for girls, for people with vulvas who were violated in this way. And we acknowledge that their lasting trauma is very real, physical and psychological trauma. But in America, we are willing to do it to our boys and think that it doesn't cause problems for them down the road. Intimacy problems with their partners. I've talked about this before, but it changes the mechanics of sex. Like the foreskin has a purpose, y'all. It has a purpose. It changes sensitivity. It changes the mechanics. And you think that that doesn't have implications for men. Men who feel that trauma are faced with it every time they want to experience the most intimate and connected act with their partner. They are reminded of the way that they were dehumanized and exposed to violence when they were a little baby by the woman, by the man who were supposed to love them the most, by the system that was supposed to take care of them and welcome them into the world. We do it for purely aesthetic reasons and puritanical reasons. Please Google the history of circumcision in America. We do it for absolutely no justifiable reason. We do it because Kellogg and other quacks erroneously believed that it would reduce, time, cranking the hog. The same reason they put carbolic acid on girls' private parts in that period of time. We ended that barbaric practice, but we still have routine infant circumcision because we need little boys to look like their daddies. I don't know, when dads and sons are whipping it out together in public and comparing, and they need other people to see that they look alike. Our justification for exposing babies to this violence, exposing boys to this violence, is absurd. It's absurd. It's absolutely a huge, huge moneymaker, not only for the doctors and hospitals who perform the procedure, but then did you know that babies' foreskins are sold? Very useful product in a capitalist system. It's all a moneymaker. And damn, if we in America don't love to traumatize, dehumanize, violate children, if we can make money doing it. As I said in the video where this comment was left, children need all basic human rights extended to them. And if we work to understand that children are human beings, if we work to end the violence, dehumanization, shame, manipulation, trauma that is done to kids on a daily basis in this country, it will have lasting consequences, positive consequences for all of American society. We were all children, and imagine what our communities could be like if we had layers and layers and layers of childhood trauma that just didn't exist. How much freedom, how much less burdened we would all be, how much more functional our relationships would be with each other. how much less shame we would carry around, how much less rage we, and men especially, would carry around if we treated kids with dignity and as fully human.